morning, ladies and gentlemen of the press. Yesterday, the northern half of St. Lucia experienced unprecedented showers, which resulted in serious flooding in many communities in the north, mainly in the north of the island. According to the Met Office, the unexpected heavy rains was caused by an upper-level trough system which lingered over the northern parts of the island, causing showers and isolated thunderstorms. The National Emergency Management Organization, Nemo, along with the first responder agencies, are currently conducting damage assessments in the affected communities. Many homes and businesses are reported to have been affected by severe flooding, causing significant damage. At least 2 schools in the north of the island have been closed as a result of the flooding. Nemo has been in touch with CDMA and other regional and international disaster response agencies with a view to mobilizing assistance for the affected communities. Following receipt of the damage assessment report from Nemo, the government will determine the nature and extent of the assistance needed and put together a full response program. Disaster management committees in Castries East, Castries Central, Castries South, and Castries Southeast and Groza were mobilized from yesterday and will continue the assessments today to gain a more comprehensive assessment of the damages. From yesterday evening, crews from the Ministry of Infrastructure were dispatched to clear fallen trees and debris from roads and drains. Emergency personnel have been working around the clock to provide relief to individuals and compromised infrastructure. Utility companies have also worked overtime to restore services to affected areas. Teams from the Ministry of Agriculture are also out in the field doing a rapid assessment in the forests of our waterways, trees, and flora and fauna. Extension officers are also assessing damage to livestock and crops. The Ministry of Education have closed the Coram Secondary and Dame Pullet Primary School, and cleanup is ongoing to facilitate the safe return of students and teachers back into the classroom. The Ministry of Infrastructure had maintained the schedule for desilting, especially as prescribed during preparation for the hurricane season. Despite the heavy rainfall, there were many things in the rivers that were not supposed to be there. Old stoves, discarded fridges, plastic bottles in the rivers. And once more, we are begging and urging the public of St. Lucia not to dispose these materials in the waterways and the rivers. Climate change is real. These weather events are going to be more frequent and more devastating. In a meeting of national security ministers in London, one expert is predicting that climate change is a threat that can only be compared to a nuclear disaster. That's how real climate change is. I want to express my sincere gratitude to the emergency personnel, the utility companies, public servants and citizens who helped and who assisted the staff of Nemo as we look forward to the commencement of our relief efforts to mitigate the effects of this Trough yesterday. I'll hand you over to the director of Nemo. She can give you a brief synopsis of what Nemo is doing.
Okay. At this point, like Prime Minister indicated, the disaster committees are on the ground trying to make some assessments and the level of damages to persons' homes. We also note that some persons would have been distressed and traumatized over the loss of most of their properties. And like we have always indicated, We try to encourage people to save their lives and their properties. And at this time, we have no recorded or reported cases of death. And this is one case where you have noted that people have protected their lives. And as PM said, the waterways, too many incidences of clogged waterways because of garbage. Persons dispose of their garbage in the waterways or to the back of their homes where it is close to the waterways. So once it has overflowed its banks, everything gets washed away. And these things also compromise the roads and the bridges. So again, we're pleading with you to please dispose of garbage. Solid waste has bulk garbage once a month. Please ensure that you know what dates your garbage, bulk garbage is being collected. The National Emergency Management Organization is currently taking reports of damages. The telephone number to call is 468-2126, 452-3802.
From yesterday, we saw people kind of go out while the floods were rushing to try and secure their personal items or
and even rescue
other people.
individuals.
So what would you say about that in those kind of instances?
While we cannot say that you should not, we ask that you proceed with caution. Some of those we saw did border on a bit of recklessness, but if you are going to do so, please proceed with caution. There was one gentleman who was in the raging waters trying to save a vehicle. I mean, he could have asked somebody to tie a rope around his waist while he does that. So if anything happens, they can pull him out. But we just have to be careful.
Can you just remind the public of Nemo's role, because Nemo tends to be taking a lot of blame every time a natural disaster occurs. Just enlighten the public as to Nemo's role in these situations.
Okay. Nemo is not a weather service. That is the role of the St. Lucia Met Services. So to warn us or to inform us of an impending system, this is the responsibility of the St. Lucia Met Services. Having said that, once Nemo is aware of it, we need to inform the public and encourage them as to what they can do to save their lives, livelihoods, and so on, and to prepare just in case. Throughout the year, we carry training, we build capacity, we do a lot of community work throughout the year so that persons are aware of what they need to do disaster-wise.
Many persons continue to, lament the speed of the timeliness of that information dissemination. What are you doing to actually heighten that, and what actions can be taken moving forward to just address the issue?
Okay, this speaks to us having to ramp up our public education and our public sensitization.
PM, have you been in dialogue with your counterparts in Dominica? I know they were Delta Blue from that system.
Yes, we've had a conversation with Prime Minister Skerritt. As with our case here, the assessment is taking place as we speak, and we shall have a more thorough discussion later.
And what of the timing of this incident, considering we just a couple of weeks ago was the anniversary of the Christmas itself? Thomas. Sorry, yeah, Hurricane Thomas.
Well, as I made a point, climate change is real. Climate change is real. And then, if you notice, the Badawan's Bridge did not flood, nor did the bridge at Bonte. The Badawan's Bridge was built with the specifications of a 1 in 1,000-year flood. And I'm very thankful to God that there was no flooding in the Badawan's Bridge. I'm making a point that when I left the Ministry of Infrastructure, plans to construct the Shock Bridge were very much advanced in the same way as the Badawan's Bridge. The World Bank and the Army Corps of Engineers, these were the people who did the specifications for the Badawan's Bridge. I hope going forward, we can look into construction of the Shock Bridge at some point. But I'm very happy that both the Bois-d'Orange Bridge and the Bonter Bridge held up, and there was no flooding on that side of the country.
Do you feel
But
somewhat,
excuse me?
do you feel somewhat vindicated?
No, I was.
The administration was heavily criticized on these two.
You see, I'm glad you asked that. There was no need for me to feel vindicated because truth was always on my side. You see, there are some things that are true and they will remain true even though people try to lie. The facts on the Bois-d'Orange Bridge were clear. There was an audit done on the Bois-d'Orange Bridge. As usual, the results of this audit were never resolved, and there was actually a cost saving on the Bois-d'Orange Bridge. The Bois-d'Orange Bridge was built on the international tender supervised by the World Bank and the Army Corps of Engineers, and it's actually a savings on the Bois-d'Orange Bridge. So I have no reason to be vindicated. The truth will always set me free. I hope you could ask the same question about the bypass road that was built next to the Bois-d'Orange Bridge. If these questions, if they answered, we'll have no problems. But this is a time for disaster.
Mr. Prime Minister, just one
Yes?
more question from me. On the aspect of insurance, a lot of people would have suffered damage to property, damage to vehicles, homes, livestock, what have you. What measures can be put in place to help persons in instances like this, especially the vulnerable, suffering those sort of losses? Is there anything, any cause for insurance claims, anything that can happen to help those people?
Well, as you know, insurance would be a private matter. In terms of those who are vulnerable, Nemo is having an assessment, and the government will move in and support the way we can. But we await the assessment from Nemo. This is not a matter that's going to be done by any other means, but an assessment from Nemo, assessment by the Ministry of Equity, and a professional assessment, then we know we're moving forward. But I can assure you that the government will find ways and means of giving some form of assistance to the most vulnerable in the society.